Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Talking to.
Testing 1, 2. Testing.
Good morning, this is Tom.
It's going to be a remote meeting, isn't it?
Hey, Tom, we can hear you.
Good, okay, thank you. Who is this?
This is Jordan. I'm going to mute us back until the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds a little peaked. All right, welcome everybody. It is 9 o'clock here in the Kingdom of Wetmore, according to Kevin, and it's official time. And I'm Bill Kanda, Commissioner, and I'm calling this meeting to order on Wednesday, March 17th, 2021. Can you hear me out there?
Okay.
All right, and Tina, I'm gonna ask her to keep giving me a high sign if we get a little low. So it's 9 a.m. and we're ready to go. Let's all call this meeting to order. Silence your phones if you've got them. Make sure, because I'm always guilty. I probably haven't got it silenced yet, so I'll take care of that right now. And we'll have audience introductions here in a minute. So let's all stand and say the pledge. And let's let Chuck start us off.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, Kelly, how about roll call? Here.
Commissioner Flowers?
Tom, can you hear us?
You said something.
What'd you say, Tom?
Present via the telephone.
There's a delay. Go ahead.
Commissioner Day?
Present.
Attorney Clint Smith?
Present.
Clerk to the board, Kelly Camper, present.
Okay, let's go around the room here. Just introduce yourself and we'll go around.
Bruce Barr Whitmore?
Chuck Staggerwald, off by Bishop's Castle.
Haley Day Whitmore?
I think it's a coincidence, same name.
Chris and Michelle from Custer.
Kurt Wilson, Custer County Road Bridge.
Welcome.
Joe Jones, Custer County Road Bridge.
Thank you.
Tina Jones?
And we've got Jordan Benson here, our ace crack IT guy down here. And I think Vernon on? He was going to be monitoring this meeting. Okay, if anybody else from the telephone chimes in, we'll have you introduce yourself and make sure we know who's out there that's talking. And I don't have anything to amend the agenda. I'm not going to take anything off, but I got some items that will come up a little later. Kevin, do you have any amendments?
No amendments, no.
Tom, any amendments?
Well, I wanted to have a discussion about adding the item to consider paying the additional cost of tower number 7 for $6,800.
Right, that's what I was going to bring up here in a minute, and we've handled that under the additional items of business.
Are we going to vote on it today?
No, we can't. But I sent out a note to the team. I talked to Clint last night. We can discuss it. We'll be more than happy to discuss it. We won't make a decision, and if they want to bring it up, we'll have to bring it in at a later time, either a special meeting or at the next regular meeting.
So if we add it to the agenda, we still can't vote on it?
Right. And I gave them the option if they wanted to discuss it and put more detail in it for us to consider, and then when we get together, we can vote on it at that time. And I haven't heard from them. Are they online? Do we know? Is Dale Mullen or Charles?
Dale's online.
Okay. Dale, are you ready to present it during additional items of business as a discussion?
Thank you.
Dale?
He's left.
Oh, he's off. Is Charles on? Okay. Charles, are you there?
Okay, Bill, I had to star 6 to get into the bridge. Anyway, Mullen is here. My position would be that I'm prepared to present the additional information, but if there can be no decision today, I think we would be better off just to wait when we have some audio or video to show you when we can have a decision. Time is our enemy, so by waiting, it complicates things, but I still think there's no value in presenting today without a decision.
Okay, that's fine, and we'll discuss this, later on when we can schedule either a special meeting or whatever else, it may be. Sorry for the confusion. We sure got tied up in a lot of other items, and I don't know why that dropped through the crack, but it did.
Got it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, approval of the minutes, and we've got 8 of them. Kelly's been extra busy, finally. She said she feels very relieved. And I didn't get through all the minutes, to be truthful. I'm sorry about that, but let's see what you think, Kevin.
I went through, and of course, some of them did not pertain to me again, but everything that I went through looked pretty good to me. So I would make a motion to approve the minutes of December 16th, 7th, and December 17th, December 31 of 2020, as well as February 26th special meeting, the February 26th regular meeting, March 2nd, March 3rd, and March 12th of 2021.
Got a second?
I did read all the minutes. I will second that motion.
Good. Yeah, I got through all but the last 2, and I was not able to get it. So I'm glad that sounds like they're fine. So it's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes as presented. 16 December, 17 December, 31 December, 26 February, 26 February again, March 2nd, March 3rd, and March 12th. All in favor, say aye. Tom?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And aye. Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
You're
Yeah.
free. You're free.
As long as we never have another year like last year, they'll never get one.
Last year was heck, wasn't it? All right, commissioner items. Tom?
I won't go through my calendar just because of the circumstances, but I did have a couple items on the agenda, or general items that I have added to my agenda under commissioner items. I think we need to have a discussion about adding consideration of Resolution 2102 to the March 31st meeting. And I would also request that the commissioners direct Kit Scheid to survey the county property that is adjacent to the Saddle Club property on the south. The Fair Board reached out to me. They would like to get a survey done so they know exactly where that county property is.
Okay, so you're proposing that, are we going to discuss the 2105?
2102.
Or 2102? And you want that added to the 31st, Tom?
Well, that's as soon as we can do it, unless we have a special meeting. It ties into Mr. Steigerwalt's proposal today as well. So I think they're very much similar. So I think we'll have to decide what we're going to do there.
Yeah, and I thought we also had a Second Amendment resolution already that we did.
We have Resolution 19-01 declaring Custer County to be a Second Amendment sanctuary county.
And what's different here, do we know?
I don't know.
2102.
There's not much difference at all from my perspective.
I thought 2102 was the one that opened the county, because you were waiting on it. But you were going to do it the Board of Health.
Yeah, that's the Board of Health, 2102, I thought.
Yeah, that was a difference. That's not a sanctuary
For-
Second Amendment.
Not for Board of Health,
Right,
for the
but that's
county.
what 2102 is. That's the one that's hanging out there still.
Oh.
2102.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's 2105.
2105 is the one that's on the agenda today, at the request of Chris Bryson, who's present.
Okay, all right, then, so that 2102 was a Board of Health.
Well, it was that one, resolution, Tom, that was, monument. It was the
Yeah.
same as the monument resolution.
Right,
They
okay,
opened the town a monument. And
Right.
that's the one that you still have a motion,
Yeah, we
an
have that
open motion.
open motion that we need to kill, I think, because I think it's OBE'd now.
Yeah, 2102, the caption was a resolution reasserting the rights of the citizens of Custer County, rejecting the unconstitutional limitations imposed upon their freedoms by the governor of Colorado.
Yeah, that's, I don't think it's applicable anymore.
Sort of took it in your own hands anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, we did, didn't we? So we can deal with that in the Board of Health meeting, I guess. Kill that. Okay, so, yeah, we'll have to hear what Chuck's got and compare it with the ones we've already signed. We do have a resolution already out there that we signed some time ago.
And then I'd like to direct Kit Shy to do that survey.
Yeah, and the survey, there shouldn't be any issue with us doing that as a...
That doesn't require a vote or anything. It's just asking the county surveyor to take care of some county business.
Okay. So I'll get a hold of him then, Tom, and ask him to do that.
All right, thank you.
All right,
That's all I have.
Okay, Kevin.
I'll just run over a couple of things. I was scheduled to meet with a couple of gentlemen from Channel 11 and Channel 21 on the TV translators up in the valley. We were going to meet on the 24th, but with the weather we've gotten, the road's going to be pretty sloppy going in, and they said the weather didn't look good for then. So we have kicked that out about 2 weeks now into April. So I'll be meeting with them on that. Also, I had brought up, I think the last time we met, some concerns people had down here as far as the speed of people coming down the hill and coming into town. And I have spoken with Shannon and with Chris as well from the State Patrol, and although I know they're both very short-handed, but they have expressed to me that they will be trying to have a little more visible presence, and maybe we can slow that down a little bit, literally speaking. The one other thing that I have right now, I did meet with the board of the community building here the other day as well, and a couple of things. The two major things that I had them put together some stuff that did not get addressed during the remodel of the building here. And the two major things right now are some of the electrical. We've got drop cords run all over up here for our computers. One of the main things that was supposed to happen was power outlets along the front end of this stage for our situations like this, or for the dinners that they have so that they can plug in their stuff. Definite lack of electrical outlets in the kitchen that are on separate circuits as well. So there's a couple of electrical things that should be addressed. And in the kitchen as well, before the remodel, we had a nice, one of those sprayers on the sink where you could rinse your dishes off before they went into the dishwasher. That was supposed to be replaced, so the old one went away, and now we have nothing. And so that's another thing. That's the two major things we've got. There are other items that will probably come up here a little later that might be able to be addressed budgeting going forward. But these are a couple of the major things that never were addressed and really should be. And so I'd kind of like to have a discussion on those two items as far as the electrical and the sink sprayer here in the kitchen, as to what we might be able to do on those. And I know go ahead, Tom.
Sorry, Kevin, I was just going to say, I will be willing to take on those projects, get us some bids. from an electrician and a plumber and move forward with that, get some prices.
Yeah, that's the right thing to do. We've got a fund that we have for maintenance, and this probably falls right in it.
Well, I'd appreciate it if you could run with that then, Tom.
Yes, sir, I'll take care of it.
All right, thank you. What's that?
Yes.
Yes, he said he would look into both items. And that's all I have on my commissioner items this morning.
Okay, that's all you have for that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of things have happened since our last meeting, forever. We've done a lot of things, as you know, from a health board point of view, that took center stage on just about everything. And we're pressing on with that. We have a health board meeting this evening at 5 o'clock, just so you know. And it's just doing the same thing we've been doing, is taking a look at the statistics, COVID statistics, and any issues, and then making decisions based on what we see. So that'll be this evening. The other things, I'd like to welcome John, was it Price? Price, right? John Price was just hired by the board to do the payroll and HR job. And John is a native, basically, of Custer County. He was in school up through 3rd grade in Custer County and then moved away with his family. He's got several brothers, and they're all trying to get back to the kingdom and the center of the universe. And he is very well qualified and a very personal guy. And to get a chance to swing by the office, he'll be replacing. It's going to take 2 people to replace Donna. We're still looking for a finance lead yet. And we had one we were going to interview today, but that person withdrew his application. So we got to start from scratch. And it's going to throw a kink in the works, but we'll try to get around that and advertise positions more. Also, from an airport point of view, things have happened there too. The AWOS, which is the Automatic Weather Observation System, that is now operational except on the air. It can't broadcast yet because we haven't got the FCC license completed, but it is operational. You can actually dial in and listen to the weather at the airport if you wanted to. Which is a big milestone. That was a grant that was provided by the Department of Transportation and Aviation Department here in Colorado. The other thing is we had decided we would go ahead and purchase, because of safety and the fuel tank that we've got up there was leaking. We went ahead and worked with a company called BASCO, and they had originally supplied us a bid before Christmas. We paid them half of what they wanted, and then they decided that the fuel cost of materials went up, and so instead of $76,000, they wanted $112,000. So, needless to say, we had a long conversation with them. The airport board and I did to have them go back to the drawing board and come back with what they really think it's going to cost, and then we'll decide. There are other contractors out there that have also submitted bids to us, and so the airport board is going to look into that, and we'll decide how to proceed as soon as they come back with some options. And this other company gets real. It's not a bait and switch. They kept saying that all the time, and when somebody says not a bait and switch, it kind of makes you wonder because it must be in their lexicon somehow. So we're keeping our eye on that. And those are the major events right now that we've got. Also, I noticed we also, if you hadn't heard, also we all hired a public information officer, Reggie Foster, doing a really great job of keeping things going and updating the website and making sure people have the ability to see what's going on. One of the things that just came up, we got to decide, I guess, at some point with you, Tom, and Kevin, there's some radio stations out there that want to interview us now and decide what we're going to do with that. So we'll talk about that more at the Board of Health meeting.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you, Reggie.
So, Bill, did we get a date when they're going to come back with another price on the tank?
Yeah, they went. I talked to the COO last night. He's going to the CEO, and they're going to decide how they're going to handle it and how much of that they can eat, and then give us a bids back here in the next 3 days or so, he said, so we'll be on top of that. Both Lynn and Brian we're on that call as well. So, I'll let you all know, and then, we'll decide, what we're doing next.
I'm assuming there's still a possibility to request our money back and go with a different
Oh, yeah.
company.
Yep, they brought that up, we can get our money back and go with another company. And, they don't wanna lose the business, but I can't imagine, they're not trying very hard, it doesn't seem like, we'll see. Okay, I think that's all I have for now. And how about you, Clint?
Well, I was missing in action last week for the better part of the week. Went off to selfishly visit some old college friends from 55
You sure did turn your phone off, too.
I turned that, my wife said, don't let Bill Canada call you.
She's a smart woman.
So since I've gotten back, I've worked with Jackie Hobby on several things as usual. And, but I was very pleased to see that county government did not collapse in my absence, so.
It was rocky.
Okay. But I don't really have anything else to report right now.
Okay, thanks. How about you, Tina?
I have nothing to report at this time.
We all good with our credit cards now, finally?
We are.
Wow, way to go. Okay, any,
I might just
go ahead.
step back to me. I neglected my, our road and bridge guys here. I did invite them to the meeting today. They've been doing a pretty good job down here. They've, jumped right in. They've done a lot of stuff that apparently the guy that was in there, guys in there before were neglecting, and so they've been
Good thing they straightened up.
They're straightening up a lot of stuff that's been in the books for a long time, so thank you guys, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
You're not asking for a standing ovation or anything?
I think, that probably embarrassed them a little bit.
You've embarrassed them enough already. I don't know if it was worth the cinnamon roll they're gonna get or not.
Turtle like that.
Okay. All right, this is an opportunity right now. We have public comment up front here and in the back end of this meeting. If there's something else we can't make decisions on, we can discuss and bring up for a future meeting. If anybody has an item for us right now, speak now or forever hold your peace till the end of the meeting. Okay, anybody on the net?
Who's offering you doing it?
Vernon is monitoring that. I don't have anything.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. All right, let's move on then. We get into, we do not have any unfinished business that I'm not aware of anyway. I'm not aware of anything. Tom, you got anything?
No.
Okay, new business, and you, public, will be allowed to comment as we go through each of these items. We have a pretty good, a light load here. I hope we can get on with it without too much hassle today. It looks good. Given the weather, it's nice to have the sun shining, we can drive home in. All right, consideration of Resolution 2105. Somebody want to read that?
Do you want to have it read out loud?
Yeah.
I'm happy. Do you have a copy?
I do. You need it? Front and back.
Thank you. All right, this, Chris Bryson, who is also our county cartographer, he works in the assessor's office, asked about putting this on the agenda, and he and I worked together on this. Proposed resolution number 21-05 is entitled, "A Resolution of the Board of County Commissioners for Custer County declaring Custer County to be a constitutional preservation county. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners for Custer County, the board, a political subdivision of the state of Colorado, desires to declare its support for the Constitution of the United States of America with direct emphasis on the First and Second Amendments and the Constitution of the state of Colorado with direct emphasis on Article 2 as set forth more fully herein. And whereas Section 30-11-1012 Colorado Revised Statutes grants to each county the authority to adopt and enforce ordinances and resolutions regarding health, safety, and welfare issues for the well-being of the citizens of the county. And whereas the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, as part of the Bill of Rights, denies Congress any authority to institute laws that may infringe upon any free exercise of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of press, or any right of the people to peaceably assemble or to petition the government for any redress of grievances. And whereas the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution, as part of the Bill of Rights, additionally denies Congress any authority to infringe upon the people's right to keep and bear arms. And whereas Article 2 of the Constitution of the State of Colorado, also known as the Bill of Rights, protects these same freedoms, and whereas it is the desire of the board to declare its support of and allegiance to the First and Second Amendments of the United States Constitution and Article 2 of the Constitution of the State of Colorado, each protecting and guaranteeing these rights, and whereas the members of this board took an oath to support and defend the United States Constitution, the Constitution of the State of Colorado, and the laws of the State of Colorado insofar as such laws are constitutional. And now, therefore, be it hereby resolved by the Board of County Commissioners for Custer County that we, the board, on behalf of the citizens of Custer County, pledge to stand and defend the rights and liberties guaranteed by the First and Second Amendments to the United States Constitution and by the following sections of Article 2 of the Constitution of the State of Colorado. Section 3, the right of the people to enjoy and defend their lives and liberties. Section 4, the right of the people to enjoy religious freedom. Section 10, the right of the people to freedom of speech and the right to write and publish whatever they desire on any subject. Section 13, the right of the people to keep and bear arms in defense of their homes, persons, and property, and all other rights of the people expressly enumerated in said Article 2. We, the Board of County Commissioners for Custer County, do hereby approve and adopt this resolution, which shall be known as the Constitutional Preservation Resolution, designating Custer County to be a constitutional preservation county. And be it further resolved that this board affirms its support for the duly elected sheriff of Custer County, Colorado, in the exercise of his/her sound discretion, and further affirms its resolve to support decisions by our sheriff not to enforce any unconstitutional laws against any citizen of this county. And be it further resolved that this board will not authorize or appropriate government funds, resources, employees, agencies, contractors, buildings, detention centers, or offices for the purpose of enforcing any law that unconstitutionally infringes upon the rights of the people. And then signatures for the commissioners to sign if this proposed resolution is adopted. And since this was Chris Bryson's initial request, I'd like to invite Chris up to speak if he wants.
You bet. I'd like to hear from Chris before we vote or have a motion. Chris, if you want to stand up so everybody can hear you there and see you. But I want you to make it brief as you can and get it to the point, and because this is a very, very good thing, and I know you presented it to us before that you were going to put this together, and I think it sounds like you and Clint did a good job of putting it together. So go ahead.
Thank you. Just generally, this current 117th Congress has submitted, as of today, now 4,500 new bills. There's 41 states that have stood against this onslaught of legislation, and 1,100 counties are doing what we are doing in Custer County, putting different resolutions to combat different things. This is why we decided to go along the route of constitutional preservation instead of nickel and diming all these bills. Right now, there's 26 new equality laws, 41 new Democrat-introduced firearms laws, and 100 new immigration laws. They seem to be overstepping their bounds on this. Many of the laws would circumvent and infringe upon U.S. citizens' rights, allowing rights to non-citizens over those protected by the Constitution. You can see the trend. You see how at a fundamental level, introduced legislation is attempting to circumvent the simplicity of the Constitution and our Bill of Rights. Passing legislation without any support of Republican lawmakers at all, using sleight-of-hand methods to push through legislation that only supports one view, disregarding the rest of America. I have two examples. There's an H.R. 196 which calls for the importance of taking a feminist approach to all aspects of the government. That's just a bill that they're pushing through that has nothing to do with bilateral support. No one's supporting that. Another painfully obvious example of sleight of hand is S-281. It is also known as the Gun Violence Protection Research Act of 2021. That's the sleight of hand title. The actual title is a bill to authorize the appropriation of funds to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention for conducting or supporting research on firearm safety or gun violence prevention to the tune of $50 million a year for 5 years. That's a lot of money for the Center for Disease to do gun research and gun violence protection. It seems they've got better things to do, like creating COVID fear or panic. But does any of us really believe that $250 million is going to gun research? I don't. I just don't see it. There's plenty of other gun bills they could put that in, but they didn't. They put it on a CDC bill and sleight-of-handed the title to make it seem like it's all about guns, but then when you go to the actual title of the bill, it has nothing to do with. It's giving the CDC, it seems like a suspect amount of money every year to do what they're supposed to be doing anyway. It doesn't have anything to do with guns. At this point, I think we're clear. I respectfully urge this board to vote for and adopt the resolution that will establish us as a constitutional preservation council.
Thanks, Chris. And good job pulling it together, doing a lot of good research. Well, I would propose that I'll make a motion that we adopt this resolution, and that way we can get into discussing it. Have a second?
I would second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to adopt this resolution 21-05. So let's have some discussion. Any other questions out here? Issues? Go ahead.
Sheriff Fire, are you in with this, or is he in support of it?
I don't know. I'm asking you guys.
The language is, the part about the sheriff toward the end of it is the identical language that was in Resolution 19-01, where in fact, he was the one that brought to the board the Second Amendment sanctuary county, so I'm sure Sheriff Byerly is in full support of this as well.
What was your name? She needs it for the record. I think you were late. Go ahead. I interrupted. Say it again.
Terry Fairbury.
Okay. Questions? Other discussion? Tom?
Tom with us?
Yeah, just waiting for you to call the vote.
Didn't know if you had more discussion or not.
All right. I call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Kevin?
Wait a minute, online discussion.
What, say again?
Somebody online has a...
Online discussion.
Go ahead.
Yes, this
State
is James
your
Gilbert
name
again. You apparent.
I'm sorry. State your name.
James Gilbert.
James Gilbert.
James Gilbert. Go ahead.
Okay, you're doing it again. You're proposing to adopt a resolution that suggests that the Board of County Commissioners has the authority to declare proposed or enacted legislation unconstitutional, which you clearly don't. And as such, how can you possibly follow this resolution? Secondly, I'm unclear as to why only 2 amendments are singled out as opposed to preserving the entire Constitution. This seems to make no sense to me unless parts of the Constitution aren't worthy of support, including all its amendments. So I don't understand why this resolution wouldn't state that instead of focusing on 2 individual amendments. And thirdly, Mr. Bryson said something that is patently untrue. The CDC did not create a COVID panic.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for your comments. Chris, you want to address the focus here just real quick?
If you're going to do it, you probably need to, I'm not sure, can the microphone pick them up back there?
Can you hear me? So the main reason that I focus on the First and Second Amendment is because I do have a look at the bills that are in Congress, the ones that are pending and the ones that have a lot of co-sponsors, and the primary focus of those is covered by the First and Second Amendment. So I am really trying to focus on those 2 things, freedom of speech and censorship being the actual original reason that I approached the board, and this addresses that entirely for me. I'm not trying to look at 4,500 bills. I look at the bills that are specifically not opposed to, but that specifically impact the First and Second Amendments, and that's why the resolution is written that way.
Okay, thank you. Sure. All right, thanks. All right, any other comments? Okay, then I will call for the vote. All in favor of adopting this resolution 2105, say aye. Kevin?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
And aye. Okay, thank you, Chris. Thank you, Clint.
All right, had this prepared just in case. Not Cliff.
Yeah, thank you, not Cliff.
I'll hold that up from time. You should see me with Dr. Cliff Brown.
I hate to confuse Dr. Brown with Cliff, too. Clint. All right, thank you. Next item. Consideration of Custer County Second Amendment sanctuary status. And Chuck, I think we addressed this a little bit, but you have the, did you put together something for us?
Bill.
That's what I thought. I got it right.
Can I see the keys? It's probably in my packet.
Okay, this is for Chuck Steigerwalt. You had a consideration for Custer County Second Amendment Sanctuary, and you've provided us a copy from Mercer County Courthouse. And I did briefly go through this, and it looks very similar to what we already had. I think ours is more inclusive, though. Did you get a chance to look at it?
I'm just looking at it now. I don't have any way of printing this out, or I'd give a copy to Mr. Steigerwalt so he can see. But the net resolution 19-01, after all the whereas clauses, says, now therefore be it hereby resolved by the Board of County Commissioners for Custer County, pursuant to the authority granted the board by the laws of the state of Colorado as referenced above, to stand and defend the rights and liberties guaranteed by the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution and by Article 2, Section 13 of the Colorado Constitution, we hereby declare this resolution shall be known as the Second Amendment Preservation Resolution, designating Custer County as a Second Amendment Sanctuary County. And then the language goes on to say, be it further resolved that this board affirms its support for the duly elected sheriff of Custer County, Colorado, in the exercise of his/her sound discretion, and further affirms its resolve to support decisions by our sheriff not to enforce any unconstitutional firearm laws against any citizen of this county. And be it further resolved that this board will not authorize or appropriate government funds, resources, employees, agencies, contractors, buildings, detention centers, or offices for the purpose of enforcing any law that unconstitutionally infringes on the right of the people to keep and bear arms. And that, those two are identical to the resolution that was just passed a few moments ago, so.
What was the date on that?
This, it's 19-01, I don't have the date you signed it, but I'm guessing it had to be in January, because it was the first resolution in 2019.
Yeah. Does that sound good, Chuck? Is it similar enough?
Yes, it covers the subject, not quite as detailed as what I proposed, but, it does cover the subject.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
The only term that isn't in there is that we would be a sanctuary Second Amendment county.
Say it again.
This it's called, the official name is the Second Amendment Preservation Resolution designating Custer County as a Second Amendment sanctuary county. So it does declare it.
Yeah.
And the one that you have, I actually saw this from Mercer County, Missouri. They go a step beyond this in some ways. They authorize the sheriff to arrest any federal officers that come into the county and try to enforce federal laws. I'm not sure we want to go that far.
We'll cross that bridge if it happens, I think.
Yeah, I think we'll have our own local militia at that point.
Yeah.
I touched base with Shannon before I even proposed this to you.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, yeah, it looks good to me. I'll enforce it.
Yeah, good.
I'm not sure if Shannon didn't remember, he brought it to us a couple of years ago.
I think he did.
Because it was Shannon that brought it to us he had one from New Mexico.
Yeah, we went through a couple iterations on it.
Right.
Okay, we good?
I think so. Nobody stole my thunder.
Okay.
We're all on the same page.
2 years ago. So we will just, let that stand and not act on it.
That would be my recommendation, is we have it covered.
Okay. Thank you, Chuck. All right, the next item is a consideration of a resolution of the Custer County EMS to continue to operate in Custer County. Do we have, who wants to talk to that?
We have Robert Fogel.
Thank you, Robert. Speak up loudly.
Sure, it seems to be just a bit of trivia. We have to be licensed by the county, and our ambulance is certified due via the inspections provided. I had intended for the gentleman from RETAC to come up here and do it, but he is available perpetually.
So this is a renewal, is that what you said it was?
Yes, sir.
And it's yearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is it always this time of the year, or should it have been
It should have been January, to be honest with you, but as I said, I've been waiting on RETAC. I'm not on my own eggs, I want to get to do the inspection, but.
Do we need him or anybody to comment on this, or is there any issues? What do we actually?
Who was speaking? I'm sorry, Bill, who was speaking to this?
Oh, Robert Fogel. Robert Fogel, Tom, Custer County EMS manager.
Bill, so, I don't know if it was from you but you talked about needing a resolution to do it, and always in the past, we've just done it as a motion, that you guys certify that ambulances have been, checked and they're all.
And that was my recommendation also. We don't need a resolution on it, it's just a vote by the board to approve.
And I was ill-advised on it.
Well, you're very honest. And that's fine. So, the motion would be to just recertify the, how would it,
That's what they usually, that's what it's been in the past.
A motion to, I think that would be it, to certify, the inspections. How do you want it worded? I mean, you're the one that submitted this, I'm just looking at it now.
I think a motion to recertify the ambulance inspection, allow Custer County EMS to operate in the county.
okay, so Kevin, can you put that in a motion?
I would make a motion that we, certify the inspections on the ambulances and equipment, for the EMS, and also to allow them to continue to operate in Custer County
For this year.
for this coming year.
You got that?
Yep.
Okay, I'll second that. Any discussion, any other comments from anybody?
Just,
I do have.
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Tom.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, we're,
I'm assuming well, that's crazy. I take it the intent of your motion is to certify these for 982 and 984, not the third one that's in the shop.
Correct, sir.
We would have to do that later.
yeah, and you've got the, sheets, don't you, on that? Is that what you see?
I have sheets here, yes. This is 984 and 982.
And I assume Mr. Fogel will bring back another inspection on his third car.
As soon as it's ready, right?
I can't wait to, actually.
Okay. Did you hear him, Tom?
No.
He said he can't wait to, that's what his plan is.
Okay.
Okay, other comments? Okay, it's been moved and seconded to recertify the two ambulances.
982 and 984.
982 and 984, and to allow them to continue operation in Custer County for the year. All in favor, say aye. Tom?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Kanda? Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Was that worth the donut?
Gentlemen, we're going with you.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Glenn. You want to take a cinnamon roll with you?
I was promised whatever was left I could.
I think you're hoping it stays wrapped up, don't you?
You guys are going to talk about them cinnamon rolls come hell or high water, aren't you?
Yeah, we better bring some up for you, Tom.
I'm waiting with bated breath, yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's a big plate, too.
We'll send one with Tina. Whether it gets there or not is up to her.
To Tina.
It doesn't mean there won't be two in the container and you'll only get one.
All right, next item. Looks like it's a consideration of the Custer County Courthouse rooftop and site lease. And, is Vern on?
Vernon, are you on the call?
He doesn't want it.
He said, he was gonna speak to this, but, from what I
I'm about to
understand.
step into the office, Bill, and I'll let him know that you're looking for him.
Okay. And, we can get a hold of, I think it's Mr. White, if we have to, but, if he's not there, why don't we, move around this one, come back to it.
I would be all right moving to the next one and coming back as soon as Vernon's here.
Okay. Tom, you good with moving around it?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Okay, then let's take this one, and we'll get Vernon back on here in a minute. Consideration of a letter of support for the Florence and Penrose Volunteer Fire Department. And who brought this on? I saw this one.
I did, as a matter of fact.
Go ahead.
I was in contact, with Bill Ritter in Florence the other day, and, they are moving forward, trying to, get on the ballot this year, forming a tax district for their ambulance service. I think we're all well aware that, they're struggling down there, and, as a result of that, Wetmore has been dropped from their service area. We do still received coverage from Westcliff, but geographically, Florence is our best option, down here. And, he was asking if we could, come up with a letter of support for them moving forward, in this effort. And, I brought a letter of support to the board. I will read it real quick if you'd like.
Yeah, go ahead.
And, then we can move forward here. To whom it may concern, the Custer County Board of Commissioners is writing this letter in support of the Florence and Penrose Volunteer Fire Departments. The Florence and Penrose departments have struggled in recent years to staff their ambulance service with volunteers. The people that they have on staff have seen a steady increase in calls, coupled with some individuals retiring or unable to devote the time needed to keep up with the call volume. This has resulted in the remaining personnel being severely overworked. One of the results of this is that service to Northeast Custer County had to be discontinued, and response in the district boundaries has been limited at times because of a lack of personnel. To address this problem, the Florence and Penrose Volunteer Fire Departments are trying to form an ambulance or health services district, which would make it possible for their personnel to be paid. This district would encompass the RE2 school district, which includes Wetmore and the surrounding area. The Board of Commissioners support the efforts of the Florence and Penrose Volunteer Fire Departments in this venture, knowing that this would be an answer to the lack of timely response to the Wetmore area for ambulance service due to their geographic location. Sincerely, and then signature lines for the commissioners if we do approve this letter.
Okay, I just have a quick question. Some time ago, the EMS guy said they couldn't support it coming here any longer. And,
From Florence?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's changed now?
Well, this would create a special district, taxing district, where they would get the funding, not relying on volunteer
So they are,
donations.
so there's,
If moving ahead, they, move ahead and get this tax district,
oh,
the Wetmore area, I should say, the RE2 school district boundaries would be included in this tax district,
okay, that makes sense. They're trying to get the money.
so that they can have.
They want our support to help build the case.
Yes, and if they get this, they will have a tax district, they will have paid people. Right now, their volunteers are just that, they're volunteers, they're already holding down full-time jobs. So they're putting in 40, 50 hours a week at a job, and then they're putting in that much on-call time, volunteers for the ambulance. And they're getting shorter staffed, and the more people that leave, the more workload it puts on the existing volunteers. And so their numbers are dwindling. This would be able to alleviate that problem by having paid personnel.
So this is the first time Florence has ever had a paid district?
They have been volunteer entirely up to this point.
That's amazing.
They have done a wonderful job down there.
That is
And
amazing.
as a special district, then they have the right to go to the voters and ask, for a mill levy.
So that's what their plan is now.
I believe that's how I do have to commend, Custer County EMS for continuing to provide coverage here
Well, there.
while this has been going on, been discussed for a
Yes,
long time.
it's, I would echo that sentiment. They have been very well, and, they are fully aware of everything that's going on. There is a group of individuals here in Wetmore that are working with both entities, and the Custer County EMS has continued to provide service for us down here, and kudos to them because they do a good job as well. It's just geographically we're 25 miles, 26 miles away over the
Makes
mountain.
sense.
So,
This is what we're looking for. What you were talking about, what we're looking for.
yes, we believe this would be this is our best option if it works.
That sounds, really good. You did talk with them. This is strong enough. This is written the way they want it so that they can use it.
I did, run this letter by, Bill Ritter before I submitted it, and he was good with the letter that as written.
Can I ask, how far down does the school district go, the boundaries of the school district? I mean, down 165, how far does it go?
It does not go to 165,
It doesn't go
so
that far.
It's actually a little below 165.
it would be, basically it would encompass the houses on this end of the hardscrabble.
Okay.
So there will still be a dead area, so to speak, in coverage, on Highway 165 until they hit the Rye district.
That's
So
what I was wondering, so there is still a
there-
gap in
so
there.
there is a gap, and if we get all the districts together and they can do things, there might be a possibility of somehow providing coverage out of these district boundaries, but
Yeah, they got a.
Rye just comes as far as San Isabel, or does it come up farther?
they come up, I believe, just this side to some of those developments, just this side of San Isabel.
Okay.
But I could be
I was just
misspeaking.
curious how big an area we're talking about.
It would seem like the three districts, if this goes through, ought to get together and try to get an agreement on whose priority is what, which district. So that's something we can work, I guess, later.
So they approach. Get that right approach.
Okay. All right, any other discussion? We can have a motion. Go ahead and make your motion.
I would make a motion that, we, sign this letter of support for the Florence and Penrose volunteer fire departments.
Second?
That was the second.
Tom, we're gonna give you the second.
I'm
Can you
assuming
hear
it's a done deal. If you're going to assign seconds, there's no reason for me to say anything.
You coughed out a second, I heard it.
We thought the cough might be a second.
All right, been moved and seconded that we sign a letter of support, for the Penrose and, Florence departments, to help establish a new district. And that's, signed by the board on March 17th, if we agree. Been moved and seconded. Any other discussion, any other points? I heard a point out here that was, highly supportive.
Disagreement.
Okay. All right, hearing no
I
other
do
comments.
have
Go
a
ahead.
question.
Go ahead, Tom.
Touched on it, one, about the boundaries. I did not look up RE2 boundaries. I should have. I just didn't get it done. I think we should know what those boundaries are. And you've already mentioned it's still going to leave us with a dead spot on the hardscrabble. So it's not an end-all here. And then, Kevin, I'd like to get a sense from you about the citizens in that Wetmore area down there. Do they support this? Have you talked to them?
I have been in contact with, some individuals. I can't say I've spoken to everyone on this, but the ones that I am involved with and speaking to are the ones that are actually helping to pursue this because of our, the things that have transpired and our lack of timely service here. And all of them are in support of this. They feel this is our best option moving forward because of our geographic location.
Okay, thank you.
And in regards to the 165, I believe, I would say there's probably a half a dozen to a dozen residences at this time that would probably fall, if you want to, for lack of a better term, in no man's land.
Yeah, I would agree. And then also the traffic on on 96, whether they live there or not, you know, it's a traffic concern as well.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. That's a good point. 165 traffic and, 96 both, they're in the gap. Somebody's gotta come and help them.
They are, and that's something that would need to be addressed, I think, as far as who would be able to, I know Florence would at least go to their boundaries on this end. In times past, they had responded up as far as McKenzie Junction.
And I know Custer County has been very good. They had I think it was 5 last I heard, where they actually came down beyond their boundaries.
They have been coming down, most of them this year have been traffic related. So that is a question that would need to be addressed between the entities as far as who could cover sections of highway that fall out of the boundary areas.
I bet they could work out an IGA of some kind.
As soon as they have the district established, they need to
Turns
get
covering or
Yeah.
something.
Good idea.
There's no one that lives above 5 miles under 21. Above it's all open, there's only 2 houses up in there that only lived in for some time.
Yes, there's 2 residences right below McKenzie Junction, but then on Highway 165 going towards San Isabel, there are some there.
The thing they were preaching up above, the cutoff was 165. Right that way, so I'm just, for what we're getting out of this.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, any other comments? I'll call for the vote, otherwise.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I got a point
ahead.
of order here. According to my agenda, this item's not even on our agenda. Unless I happen to be looking at one that's not as current as it's supposed to be.
Let's see,
I've got it.
it's on here on this agenda. I'm sorry.
Second from the bottom.
Second from the bottom, it's consideration of letter of support for the Florence Penrose Volunteer Fire Department.
Okay.
I believe this was added on Monday. I had written it up on Sunday and. Go ahead, Tom.
I've got it in my board packet, the letter. I just apparently do not have the most recent agenda here. My apologies.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Tom. All right, all in favor of signing a letter of support for the Florence and Penrose Volunteer Fire Department, say aye. Tom?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Kanda? Aye.
Aye.
And the citizens of Wetmore said aye also. I mean, of the kingdom. All right. What you got there?
That's our, rooftop mount.
Oh, did Fern get on?
Vernon, are you on the line?
Yes, I am here.
Great. I will back up and discuss this rooftop antenna. I know that you thought we might be able to get a hold of this guy, or if there's any other data, or we can postpone this. Have you been talking with him, Vernon?
Yes, sir, I have. So the lease agreement that you have in front of you is kind of it's a preliminary negotiation agreement. There's monetary consideration in there, but there was also a discussion of utilizing their connection as a backhaul, backup data transfer for us, just in case something else goes down. So I can, with your permission, I will start communicating with Chip White from Central Colorado Telecom to see where we can go with this document and see what works best for the county and for everybody. How does that sound?
That sounds good. Clint, have you gone through this yet?
I'm just looking at it now, but as long as you're not ready to vote on it.
We're not going to vote on it.
That's fine then to go. I mean, I always look for the governing law, be sure, it doesn't say that we have to go to California if we want to sue or anything. It says we stay in Colorado. I don't have a problem with it at this point.
I would recommend for Kevin and Tom, why don't we consider having Vern go back and let's update it and get it updated, Vernon, and work it with Clint. Let's see what you can present to the board at your earliest opportunity.
Okay, will do. I'll communicate with all the parties and be in touch then.
Are we gonna give him some direction of what we want him to renegotiate?
And I'd like Clint to look at it, and then we'll see. But that, I would suggest that we have them work it and then bring it back an option for us, Tom.
Is there anything, Vernon, is there anything that you have a problem with as it exists now?
Not as it exists now. The only thing that I was looking at differently was utilizing their data backhaul instead of certain monetary funds, but it's the opening salvos of the negotiation. So there's a lot of latitude.
Well, run it by me again after you tweaked it some, and I'll take a look at it. But right offhand, I don't see anything that looks unusual for this kind of agreement.
Then why don't you, after you do that, circulate it with all three of us commissioners, and let's take a look at it, and then we may have a...
As soon as I get it from Vernon, I'll take a look at it and give it to all three of you.
Okay, well,
yeah, the only thing I thought was negotiable was the price or the amount of backhaul. I don't know what else we'd negotiate.
Maybe nothing.
Okay, I will work on that.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Moving along. Yeah. Tom, you okay?
Yeah, I would move we ratify the March 10th letter for the Sheriff's Department concerning his violence against women grant.
I'll second it. So it's been moved and seconded to ratify the letter that's from the Sheriff's Department on the domestic violence, dating, sexual assault, and stalking program solicitation.
And technically, we're ratifying the commissioners signing it.
Yes.
We've already signed it.
We've already signed it. We're going to ratify. Any other comments regarding that? I think we're good.
None here.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Tom?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Kanda, aye. How do you vote?
Aye.
Kelly says aye. It's unanimous.
Because her vote counts more than all.
I know, all three.
Kelly is sitting in your chair, Tom.
Yeah.
Well, I expected that to be taken care of.
All right, I've got the document here that we need to sign. I'll give it to Kevin, then I'll send it up to Tom. This is on the Penrose Fire Department letter, so we'll sign that. And I'll send it up. We'll get it to Tom. Other than that, let's take a look at any additional items to bring forward.
I do have.
Okay, I got to speak louder. If you got something, Tom, go ahead.
I'm assuming we're also going to sign 2105.
Yes, I'm sorry, I got that also. That was,
And then I have a question directed towards whoever's sitting in my chair.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Kelly, I looked and I could not find a copy of the resolution declaring March 20th as Cattle Women's Day. Do you have the original?
It wasn't cattle.
We support a ranch.
It was stock growers support.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's my point. First, I want to know if she's got a copy of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if we usually record those the day that you guys signed. All three of you were there that day, right?
We
So
signed
I should have it, yeah.
Okay, and then secondly, if in fact it's, and I believe it does, allude to the Stock Growers Association, we need to redo that resolution. There is no Stock Growers Association.
Do we call it that, or do we call it Custer County?
Cattlemen's Day. We declared it to be Cattlemen's Day.
I don't think we call it an association.
But, no, we didn't make reference to the association, but if you want to change it to Cattlemen's and Cattle Women's Day.
Read it.
Right.
Well, the caption, go ahead, Tom.
Well, I'm sorry, if you're gonna read it, I went back and looked at the minutes, and I don't believe it's accurate in the minutes, but maybe we did something different, I don't know.
Let's read what we got.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm just gonna read now therefore be it hereby resolved that the Board of County Commissioners declares its support for the cattlemen and other livestock producers and proclaims March 20, 2021 to be Custer County Cattlemen's Day to honor the heritage of the ranching industry and the enormous contribution it has made to the economy of this county. So it makes reference to cattlemen, but not to cattlewomen.
Right, okay. So what's it titled, Clint?
The title of it is a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners for Custer County supporting the local ranching industry in the county and declaring March 20, 2021 to be Cattlemen's Day.
Okay, thank you.
That's fine.
That clears it up for me.
Same here. Thanks, Tom. Okay, so we've got two things to sign and send up with Tina or Kelly. Right.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, any other items? Public comment. Go ahead. We're gonna do better than that. We're gonna adjourn and we're gonna have like a half an hour with you.
I want to get this for you too.
Any other comments? And we'll send up a couple cinnamon rolls with Tina. We'll see how far.
Oh, yes, there will. I'll save you one time.
Just saving you one.
I'm only saving you one, though.
You'll have a bite out of it.
All right, no other comments. Have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I would second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. Tom, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Ken, aye. Time for a cinnamon roll.